Hello, everyone. Sorry for the slight technical delay. I'm so excited to be able to share this presentation with you, and I'm so excited to be part of this conference. I know you've learned a lot of great things thus far, and hopefully this will be something that'll also interest you. AI use cases in telecom is something that's near and dear to my heart. I am Dr. Frances Ridley Boykin. I work for AT&T. I am a director of advanced analytics there, and I work with a lot of teams that focus specifically on the use of AI, the use of machine learning, and the implementation of data so that we can support our organization from the top to the bottom. In telecom, data is useful, AI is useful, machine learning is useful in several different areas, and we're going to go through that fairly quickly throughout this presentation. So hopefully you'll get it all and find it interesting. But we have engineers, we have marketers, we have those folks that are in charge of customer experience, sales teams, our service area teams, and all of the areas that not only produce data, but also use data in telecom. So what does that mean for you and where your interests lie? So telecom companies are just increasingly utilizing artificial intelligence, and as well as everyone across the world, right? We want to improve the way that we operate. We want to improve our services as well as our products. So AI can help telecom companies in 3 specific areas: how to automate tasks, how to analyze data, and then also how to improve customer service. I'm going to show you what that looks like in just a few minutes. So in this presentation, we'll get down into the nitty-gritty into how AI is used within telecoms, and hopefully you'll get some ideas that you can take back to your own organizations. Okay, so some of the challenges and focuses of using big data and use cases within telecom. I already mentioned customer, there's interaction, service, engagement, as well as resources. So looking under the infrastructure and products, you want to look at product recommendations, data monetization within the service industry, network planning, capacity planning. And then on the operations side, we look at churn analysis and prediction. How do we gain our customers? How do we lose our customers? What does that mean for our bottom line? And then the proactive customer care. How do we ensure that our customers are getting the best customer care before they even know they need it? And then, of course, if we want to stay in business, we've got to manage fraud. We've got to manage our ordering process and optimize where our products are and how we get them to where they need to be. And then there's, of course, fault management and root cause analysis, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. But those are the specific areas that we want to focus on and talk about today. So let's look at that a little bit more in depth. Let's click down into customer loyalty, acquisition, and retention. What does that mean? We've seen, and not just right now, but in the past, I know we've been doing this at AT&T for years, this whole customer churn analysis. We've even leveraged that now with sentiment analysis, going to the clickstream data. Where are our customers going? How are they, interacting with us on our website? Targeting our marketing to the right customers with the right recommendations at the right time, and optimizing our plans to best engage our customers. And then there's data-driven improvement of network services. This is big, of course, in telecom. We want our network performance to be at its maximum, so we optimize our call routing. When people call in and they have issues, are they going to the right service text? And if they're not going to the right service text, how do we fix that? So how do we fix that quickly and get our customers to the right people to get their issues resolved? Capacity planning, making sure that we have our network build out in the right places to support the demand for our services. Failure prediction. We don't have our networks go down very often, but there's storms, there's things that happen, nature issues happen, and we may have those anomalies where we have failures, and we want to be able to pinpoint those and get people back up and running and utilizing their telecom solutions quick and in a hurry. So being proactive about that, I mentioned that a little bit earlier. We want to be proactive. We don't want our customers to tell us that something's wrong. We want to be able to say, hey, something's going on, let's fix that. GIS location data monetization, that's all around understanding where your customers are during their day and night and their life, and saying, hey, you're close to this store, which is having this particular sale going on. Stop on by. Those are really great ways to monetize and build sales and service. It looks like we have a little bit in the chat. I'm going to stop for a moment. Okay. All right. I'm going to stop just quickly so that, hey there, former AT&T employee. Let's see. All right. So how AI can support improvement, accessibility of poor and low socioeconomic groups and populations to advance telecom solutions. I'll get to that in just a second. I just want to make sure that I read that whole question. And then how does AT&T utilize cloud technologies to deliver on the solutions you are highlighting? So great question. So let me answer the cloud question, since that's upper first in my mind really quickly. So on cloud, AT&T, we are, like everyone else, moving most of what we do to the cloud. So we have been doing that over the last couple of years. So today, for example, my organization, we have moved to Snowflake. So we're using Azure servers, services, and Snowflake for our, and we're leveraging that across our organization. So what we're doing is moving our data there, moving our operations so that our apps and front-facing tools load and drop data into our cloud. So we're using our cloud technologies. Of course, we have some generative AI stuff going on because that's cool and new and fresh. And so there's even some digging around into that and making that available as well. So lots of work going on. We are definitely there. I do know that there is some AWS going on with some of our teams, but for the most part, we're using Azure and Snowflake. Hope that answers that question. And then how can AI support improvement of accessibility for poor and low socioeconomic groups? This is not something that I've honestly spent a lot of time thinking about. That's kind of not where I focus my day-to-day efforts, but it is a really great question because building out the availability for especially telecom solutions for everyone across all socioeconomic structures, making sure that we have the ability to service people wherever they are is a big push for AT&T and a lot of other telecoms as well. Now, when you take a look at AI and some of the things that we can do with AI, I'm going to pop to the next slide. We can optimize, for example, with network optimization, we can optimize our telecom networks by helping us predict where we're going to have congestion, where we need to build out more, where we can help folks. We even have this one project, and I don't think I'm speaking out of turn where I say one of the things that we're doing is saying, hey, we know that this group, this segment of folks have issues. They're not getting what they need. They don't have access. How can our new build outs be ensured to support these folks? So we're actually taking our data and mapping it back with our network build folks and building out models that help us predict where we need to have build outs so that we can support people. Now, if the question is more around, is it also able to make it so that we can provide, discounted services for people in those that are in those socioeconomic groups? AT&T has been working on that for years, and we have some great programs that we are working on right now, today and every day, to support kids and folks that need access to telecom services that might not have those services otherwise. So there's some special programs that we've developed to support that. I don't know that AI specifically is how it supports that, but I will say that AT&T does have some programs to support and help with that. We can use our AI algorithms to, again, optimize the placement of cell towers, manage that traffic, and reduce downtime. So those are all great ways that we're able to do that. So someone says, who can see this transcript? Yes, I can see the transcript. Okay, moving on, customer service. Customer service is a great place for AI. It can be used to provide personalized recommendations and assistance to customers, and we're using that big time. We do have some chat bots that we're using, but also in IVR and making sure that we route properly. We're using some models to help us with routing, our routing capabilities. The cool thing about chatbots, if you'll see from this cool diagram that I got from LitLink, it helps cut costs, of course, because of lowering manpower costs, but it's also available all the time. It handles multiple tasks. You can have them handle lots of different things, and it's very engaging. The chatbots now are just so engaging and able to bring customers more information quicker. Okay, fraud detection. I'm going to keep on moving here. Detecting fraudulent activities is so important in telecom. That speaks back to how do we ensure that we are spending our money in the right places and not having additional money invested in areas where there is a lot of fraud and data theft, as well as product theft. Telecom, we have issues where folks, especially with our cell phones, that's going to be a big issue for fraud use of them, and then of course fraud of the product itself and selling and gaining those in unethical ways. So we do have AI that we are using at AT&T, and I know other companies, to help us detect that fraud and put a stop to it. Predictive maintenance. This is a big one for helping us route our trucks and also ensuring that our trucks are maintained and that we don't have problems with our vehicles and other equipment that we use. So fault management. And so those are good opportunities for us to get ahead of issues and keep our technicians and our customers moving along with their products and services. So marketing and sales. Now, I will admit marketing sales is my bailiwick. I was in marketing for 11 years, and so I know quite a bit about the focus that we have within marketing and sales, where we use AI. We use it for providing insights into our customer needs, but we also use it for tailoring our marketing and sales efforts. We also use it for with next best action. So when a customer calls in, the customer rep actually sees a screen that tells them, hey, this customer has had these issues in the past or has these products and services, and these are the things that you should probably be offering to this customer. You have a better opportunity of selling XYZ to this customer because of what we know about this customer. So lots of great stuff doing in marketing and sales. And then let's talk about network and security. Security is just it's one of those things that's just basic. If you're going to have any kind of product or service out here, you have to have security. It is not even one of those things. It's not a nice to have. It's a given that it's included in your product and service. And one of the things that we use across the organization is algorithms that help us detect these anomalies and potential threats and then head them off at the pass. So that is a big thing within telecom services. So let me give you some example real-world models that we have been using within AT&T. Voice and data wireless network quality, overall and at home. Voice data price and care importance. Willing to recommend and influence. That I mentioned sentiment earlier. Voluntary churn, wireless churn, port ins and port outs. Early tech adopters. Who are these people and how can we service them better? We look at channel preference. That's a big thing, this whole omni-channel discussion that everyone is having. Meeting the customer where they want to be met and not forcing your customer to go through a specific portal in order to get what they're looking for. Customer care and vulnerable care calls, that is always important. That goes back to that IVR discussion that I had earlier. And then of course, we're AT&T, like other telecoms, we're focusing on that whole broadband thing. How do we bring broadband to everyone? And how do we make sure that our customers are excited and engaged with our products? So some of those models. And then early tech adopters, that's a big thing. How do you bring test your latest and the greatest? You have those folks that are like, I don't mind a little bump in the road as long as I get the latest and the greatest and I can say that I have that. So we definitely reach out to those customers as well with our modeling. That is everything that I had for my presentation. I'm going to jump back over real quick to the questions. But Chatbox only has predefined problems with 100%, does not connect the customer problem and results in more customer dissatisfaction. How can we counter this? So I agree that chatbots can be, and our older version of chatbots, definitely, it was very rote, where you had only a certain number of ideas that were included in the chat box. But when you're talking about adding AI with the chat box, it builds on its own knowledge. So as people ask more questions, as people get more solutions, the chat bots are being trained to have more than just what was originally implemented within the chat bot. So the chat bot, when you combine that with AI, I think that's where you're starting to get yourself out of the old mentality, oh, this chat bot only answers a few questions. So agreed, but yes, AI is one of those ways. Generative AI, especially where you can generate new content. We've seen that with ChatGPT, which is amazing, by the way. So we're seeing that AI is being used to help train our technology. So was Next Best Action developed in-house? It was. We developed it ourselves in-house and then optimized and implemented it within our organization. Let's see. What is the relationship between data scientists and ML ops in the workflows for developing, deploying, maintaining these models? So, So data scientists are expected to build out all of the cool new machine learning models that we use. But those machine learning models, and I say this all the time, even within my own organization, are only as good and as useful as we can optimize them and implement them within our organization. So until they are implemented, until people are using them, until they're folded into our day-to-day processes, those models are just nice to have. So the data scientists, part of them building out these models is also having an understanding of the business so that we can then not just build a model, but build a model that can be implemented. And that's the thing that I think is the connection that makes models worthwhile and useful for businesses. So that's their job, understanding that connectivity between their model and the output of that model and how it can be leveraged within the business. Because until that happens, then they're just nice to have. Dr. Boykin, data science is a second career for me. Do you have advice on breaking into the kinds of projects you're talking about? That has been a challenge for me. Oh, I hear this all the time. So breaking into data science can be challenging, especially for those of you that may be of a certain age like myself. I will tell you that how I broke into data science, it was interesting because when I realized that data science was a thing, I went to one of my bosses a long time ago, not my current boss, but went to one of my long time ago bosses and I said, hey, I want to get into this data science thing. And he was like, well, I don't really have any use for that. Come back. He literally said in a year or two, and I'll help you see what I can do for you. Well, we all know that this thing is moving fast and it's changing fast. So I wasn't willing to wait a year and a half by any stretch. But what I honestly did was went back through my organization and talked to people and the things that they felt like they needed, and then tried to determine how can I turn this into an AI or a data science project, and literally did my own projects. The biggest project the project that launched me into being able to do more in my career in data science was one that I literally made up. I just decided I made up a project. It was around retail. I talked to some retail people. I did some interviews, and then I literally went out and got some friends, and I was like, hey, I'm thinking about doing this project over here. You got some side time that you want to work on it? And I literally worked that project as a side gig. And then once that side gig project became big enough, my boss came to me and said, hey, we want to leverage this within the chief data office. They want to talk to you about this project. And then I ended up handing the project over to the chief data office, and they were able to leverage the project long term. But literally, I tell this to people all the time, do not wait for someone to give you a project. Do not wait for someone to open that door for you. You know, create that whole house yourself is my advice on that. So I hope that works. But you can literally, there's nothing across the organization that can't be leveraged, AI can't be leveraged for. So you can find something. Do you have a private LLM for your chatbots, or is it based on public model? This is AT&T. I'm pretty sure that it is private, but I will be honest with you, I do not, that is not my focus. So I'd have to reach out to a colleague that I know actually does a lot of chatbot work. I'm just assuming it's AT&T, so we would go private. Thank you, Jamar. Yes, I'm certainly not one of those people who wait for opportunity. I really do believe that you should just get out there and go for it. There's so much opportunity. Okay. Any other questions? I think we're just about out of time. It always amazes me. I put together a deck and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to zoom through this deck to make sure that I have enough time. But this is such a huge area and it's just so much fun. I love, love, love this area. It's probably the best thing I ever did was move into data science. Thank you, Eric. You're welcome, Diva. All right. Well, thank you so much. I'm going to stop the meeting. I think we've gone just a couple minutes over, but I want you to know that I have my LinkedIn information out there, and please do connect with me over LinkedIn. Thank you.